Good morning to all traders and welcome to another Markets and Waves. We are seeing the scenarios we talked about actually playing out quite well since yesterday, following of course the slight changes we've had on the index and other assets. I've done a few changes also today on my GBP, USDJPY and also dollar CAD counts, and we're going to see those. But before, of course, we're going to have a quick look on DXY because it's pretty much what is leading the markets. It's the only indicator that obviously it's a CFD index, but we are using it to get a gauge about what's happening in the rest of the markets. Now, yesterday we said about the continuation towards the 94 levels. Okay, it's looks like it's playing out quite well. We've had looks like 1, 2 might be a multi-structural 3, 4, and 5 here, or it might be a case well we've got 1 and 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? The 4, which is fine, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So one might suggest that we finished here, okay, and I'm going to start heading lower down, but I'm not convinced. I mean, we do see some sort of divergence on the MACD and RSI, right? Also internally. However, we didn't even get to like 93, 96 yet. We didn't get to a level that makes sense, makes like a confluence or something. So my wave 1, okay, it's what is currently seen, okay. So my wave 5 currently is equal to wave 1. That's what we're seeing, okay. But don't forget that my wave 5 can be also equal to wave 4, okay, which is 93.90, or we can use the FIBO extension, you know, between the beginning of this structure up to 3, down to 4, 38, 61, then the next one is 93, 78 as well, but you know, it is not really what is usually seen. But again, I will repeat, we have a 5-wave structure here to assume that this is finished. But I would prefer, since we're looking at the bigger structure here, AB, right, as well. Look at this. The 61.8 again comes to 95. Now one might suggest, what about the 50%? And the 50% is here at exactly the same level, but it's not 50 extension of AB in a zigzag. It's a bit, I mean, it's not that it doesn't happen, it's just a bit unusual, okay? So the takeaway here is that likely to end very soon if we haven't ended for this main scenario, of course. If not, and we're going to continue higher, you know that the next level to look will be, you know, up to the 94 or so. If that breaks, we're going to get invalidation of this particular account. GBPUSD, if you remember, we were looking at a flat pattern ending down here, right? We've had our 3 back up here on the left. We've had ABC down here, 1, 2, and continuation to the upside. But it looks to me with that depth now we're seeing in this correction past wave 1 top, most likely this is a zigzag, which means that I've had to move my wave 3 over here. Yeah, it's not a flat any longer because the chances of breaking wave A are quite high, okay? So we are looking now at a wave A down here, wave B to the 61, exactly 0.8 Fibonacci extension of wave A, and we're looking for a further correction down, okay? With that in mind, if we take the FIBO tool and take into account the correction as well, the 61.8 brings us to 135.60. That gives us a fresh low, okay, which would really fit the criteria of having a zigzag without a truncation, because they're not really seen often in zigzags in wave C. But there is most likely also the guideline that we're going to see wave A equal to wave C, wave C equal to wave A. That's going to take us down to 133, spot on 133. Okay, so we need to keep a close eye on this particular scenario and how prices are going to react around the 135.60 area, which is the previous low. Dollar yen, the changes mainly in the decrease because I realized I was looking too zoomed in and I had to bring everything up to degrees anyway. The scenario hasn't changed much. We talked about the potential flat here as well, but now with this being a minor and this is being a minute, you know, most likely a case where we're going to continue higher up rather than anything else, because if we would consider this as an A, B, and C, then you've got a wave C here and a flat. That doesn't really make sense if you remember, right? So unless if we had like something like you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that would finish here as a running flat, and this is 1, 2, and then we're gonna multi-structure up to the upside. But that doesn't really, it's not really looking like a 5 move down here, guys. All of this, okay? It doesn't to fit the flat criteria. Now, 1 leading diagonal, 2 correction, okay, and it's possible that we'll move higher. For now, and with the current data, we've done the 61 and anywhere between that, that's a dip, which is fine for wave 2, right? Now, with the current data, we can assume that this is impulsive and moves to the upside. We need to see how this plays out, though, because the scenarios are here too. Of course, we'll move higher up, we'll move lower down. If we move lower down, W, X, and Y, okay? And we're gonna get to the 78.6 first, then we'll see how that works out. If we move higher up, we can get X here because this is my W. So the X in here is a zigzag now, but it can be considered even as a very small one. So we can have an ABC and another ABC here, either as X and then Y down, or this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then that's going to be my 1, my 2, and we'll continue higher up in minute wave 3. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for here for USDJPY as well. Do note that we'll get some sort of consolidation here. I'm not saying there is a triangle here, but a consolidation, which means that we might stay between these levels for a bit longer than initially thought, regardless of what's happening with other assets. Gold is holding well as well, which means there is some sort of, despite the fact that the dollar is strong, there is a sort of shift to safe havens as we speak. Risk off, you can see also on oil. We identified a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th. Well, not identified, talked about. We're looking at the 3rd at 62.47, weren't we? Now it looks like to me that we're going to correct up in 4, and then we're going to get the 5th wave in around the 60 level. Okay, so I don't have to add much more here. In terms of, I don't have much more to add. So just the correction over here, and that could take us higher. We can look at perhaps the wave 3 only here, if of course assuming that's done, and we can get that to 38, 50, or 61.8 as long as we are remain below 65.80. That is to be seen receiving further downside pressure. And dollar CAD, obviously with oil weakening like this, you remember we were looking at this opportunity to the downside, and we're looking at a potential move to the downside. We were up here, I had an ABC, and then we're looking at downside 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 could be seen, but looks like more of an ABC now, especially since we started moving up like this. It looks like to me now this is part of a bigger correction, okay, in wave Z of 4, obviously. And we're looking at 129.87 because this is the invalidation for the impulsive move to the downside. Now, what we can do is we connect these levels over here. You see, we are very near to receiving some sort of rejection in the triple zigzag compared to the first one, right? So we have to see how this is going to play out. In case we'll continue higher, guys, then this is most likely going to be a case where this 1 and 2, and then you've got 1 and 2 internally. That's 3, 4, and 5, and then we're going to get 3 up here, 4 and 5. Okay, 129.91 will be my level in case we break this channel, which is very near to be fair, and then we'll look for potential move to the downside. But if we break, as I said, and that is going to become a multi-structural move to the upside, then our 5 probably ended here. This is where my C and my X also ended, and that is going to be down here a big reversal signal. It has been actually, but with this structure, without us really visually speaking, you know, looking at this as a high probability count when we were like few weeks back. Okay, so that's gonna be all for the day, guys. I hope you did enjoy this week's markets and waves videos and the analysis. I do hope you enjoy the rest of the trading session. It's Friday today. Do not forget, it's a closing of the week, so we might be expecting some volatility and some moves, either profit taking or continuations. So be cautious, enjoy the weekend, and we will speak again on Monday.